when I'm put in this position in Kulmiqiniso,
You are expected to be the pillar of the
yes, ndoda ekhalayo.
Indoda ekhalayo manje uzothulisa abantu khani.
Yebo
Uyakhala
uzobona kanjani uma udrive
Abantwana bakho uzobona kanjani.
Wait. Is it fair to say the only reason why we are still condoning this way of being men is because it's worked for us?
Mangabe uyislima ndoda manje ngenzeni mina ukhulele la eGoli.
50, becoming 60, becoming 70. And
That's the point.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So maybe the question is, what is being a man?
I rise, I fight, I win. What? Dark days can't hold me in.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to us to another episode of oh shit. We're older.
Yeah.
Hey, Tana. Come on, see, Jules. Yes. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah,
man.
yebo.
It's good to see you guys here for this is our second episode, guys. Thanks for those that loved, liked, subscribed, followed, have been interacting with us on social media. We really love the support. Don't forget to continue to follow us on this social media platform over here. Mr. Marcelo,
Yebo.
udimile njalo.
Yeah, ngithi nje yazikhanya kakhulu lephambili. Lephanya kakhulu lephambili.
It is too bright.
Yeah, it's too much. But ngifuna ukubona amehlo wami.
It's great.
No.
I don't talk.
Oh, man. How was your week, Doc? Very briefly, tell me how your week was.
No, my week was grand. You just and when I told the kids, Guti, there's something that daddy's doing now that they'll look forward to in future. But they were proud. And imagine, Guti, they need to be able to extract truth from what they want to hear. So I told them, Guti, when I'm put in this position in Kulmiqiniso, yeah, and I'm not catering for abantu, ngemizi, nomndeni angikhethereli, ngikhetherela nje iqiniso ukuthi nawo bakhule bazi ukuthi no man kumele ngikhulume iqiniso. Yeah.
Nice. Ndeva?
How was the week?
Mm.
Yeah, it was quite interesting, man.
Yeah.
I don't know in what way, but it's a new year, you know, new opportunities, like. So there's so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
So
I know that Ikaslami flighted its first episode.
Oh yes.
With who's that hot talented guest that was on there?
Oh, with Zingman.
Okay, yeah, stop smiling. So
Catch up the case.
What's this dentist? All your teeth came out.
No. It was a good episode. Truly enjoyed shooting that and experience Uzin Malo in an element.
Oh, nice.
Wonderful artist.
that's great.
Mr. Matela?
Sure.
How's your week?
No. It was very.
Might as well, when you also give me the feedback, tell me about
let's start with good news.
Good news.
Good news. So it's been a very administrative week, music and all that funny stuff. So I've been up and down, a lot of admin, even on the work side, trying to get things ready for the year, new year, same labor. But so there was a very administrative. I mean, it was every day was at least several hours just future planning. The year this, the year that.
Another baby. Good news.
No, work. We're putting on work for the rest of the year. So it was very administrative span-wise. And then Lentale out, we'll get back into that feedback.
There's some hot topics, hot challenges coming through.
Yeah, man.
Was there anything in particular? I mean, because we're men and we talk about emotions. Do you want to talk about your emotions or something that made you happy, something that made you sad, something that made you angry, particularly over the past week?
Angry.
We don't just have one emotion, by the way. Yes.
We've got true. Yes, it's not just happy and sad. You're right. I actually can't think of it off the top of my head. Clearly, it was not strong enough to have put an impact.
Yeah.
But it was nothing top of mind right now. I was upset with the same nephew we spoke about last episode, but that's a different story. I mean, we're grooming the young man, so there will be some tensions. But other than that, no, nothing heavy.
Yeah, no.
Nothing heavy. Children.
Managing younger gents younger lions is stressful. You know, better
Yeah, it is.
guide them right.
It is without punching them in the face.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Sometimes, but yes. Back to you, Dave. Anything in particular that made your
Emotional.
emotions flare up?
We are allowed to have emotions as well. I feel like
No.
no. I feel like we need to kind of figure this situation out. What?
We actually you that's
Yeah, because
that's important, right? Because
it's very important. You're asking about emotions, and for men, it's a bit of an uncomfortable conversation because now you need to look into you.
yeah,
Look at yourself inward and
Vulnerable.
did I go through something that made me want to cry, that made me want to curl up into a ball like a little kid, you know? And it's a very difficult emotion or thing to deal with because we were not brought up to be emotional as men.
Yeah.
So how do I explain this?
No, you don't.
You don't.
you don't explain.
How do I answer this question, Guti? Was there anything that made me emotional?
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be emotional according to societal.
You just be
rules.
true to yourself. Nami, I feel Guti, we get lost in the translation, like I've said in the previous episode. So, Mawana Guti, I'm not geared up to be emotional, or even if I'm emotional, I'm not geared to communicate that emotion. Then you just say,
And is that a bad thing?
no, I imagine it was the way that you were built
True.
up. Dude. It's how you fulfill your purpose.
And has it been working for you?
Kakhulu.
I feel the same. I feel like being emotional kind of wastes time.
Yeah.
Time that you could have used in solutioning whatever problem you were faced with at that time that made you want to be emotional.
Yeah.
But you decided to spend time being feminine.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was an emotion. Did you love someone? Did you love someone?
I mean, that's
Something.
exactly what I was going to say.
Something.
There's
an emotion.
There's some emotion that I think we because of our male nature, we need to consciously tap into, right? For example, and I'll use one that is straight for the jugular and the heart. The love and the emotions we have for our kids.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
is
is
not that the
It has to be blatant.
generic man must be hard thing that is external. It's very much an internal, in my house. How do my kids experience love? How do I show them emotions? How do I show my boy that even if you are feeling that way, it's okay. Maybe there's a way in which you should react according to that, right?
But
Because you can't take a blanket approach and say we shouldn't feel emotions and it's okay. Not that anyone said it, but we're in that territory where males have been in.
Yeah.
It's okay not to show emotion because you're a man. It's about which emotion is it okay to show.
Yeah.
That's my perspective, right? Which emotion are you okay? Is it okay for you to show? One for the love of your children and the people in your life.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. No, we're not talking about love. I think we're talking about whining and crying.
Yeah. All of that.
Talk about
None of that. None of that.
Now we talk about complaining.
Yeah.
Happiness. Yeah, you can be happy.
Yeah.
You're giving yourself permission. You can be.
But none of that,
None of that.
But we're talking about dire situations.
Ngithe too deep.
Yeah.
I'm really ngishayela.
Yeah. We're talking about dire situations where things are going wrong,
Yeah.
You can't
And
be
you have to
emotional
whine
as a
and
man.
cry. Okay.
You are expected to be the pillar of the
Yes. Ndoda ekhala.
Ndoda ekhalayo manje uzothulisa abantu khani.
Hey, bathu.
Uyakhala
Uzobona kanjani uma udrive
Abantwana
ama-car?
bakho uzobona
Okay, wait.
Yes, yes.
Kancane, kancane.
Uzobona kanjani?
But then now you're going deep. I can't even mesishala now you're going deep.
We're not going to, but we're just breaking down what we were saying.
Yeah.
We're not talking about happiness and love. Those are different.
Mabasic.
Yeah, those are basic. But
Okay,
we
so
talk,
there you're okay to show emotions when you're happy and when there's love that is required.
I wouldn't call them emotions, but showing.
Yeah, so kunjalo.
Yeah,
Oh, but
This is
but
the
they
sign.
but there are emotions.
yeah, they are. They are defined as emotions. Love is an emotion. Happiness is an emotion.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You can show it. But we were talking about when things are going wrong in life.
Yeah.
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 When there's hardships.
Yes.
You can't be weak. You can't be caught lacking as a man. in that
100%.
But can I give you a young caveat? So to your point, you're saying you can't be caught slipping in. But is it something you can still discuss? Like, guys, as Israel was said, it might not be something that we're gonna show people because obviously you don't wanna perceive societally is weakness to an extent. So you don't want to display that. But it does not mean that you don't experience it. You do experience it. We just don't show it. But in a setting such as this, without the cameras, would you like tell the gents like, hey guys, like actually,
You know,
I shed a tear yesterday,
And
You don't-
this is why.
Yeah.
I feel like, yes, this should be happening, but unfortunately it's not, because like you said right now, we always talk about it after the man. Like
Yes.
after you figured it out and you solutioned it, you're like, yo, chance, I almost died this one. That's the only time we ever talk about
Okay,
it.
yeah.
But yes, it
Is that
would
not,
be.
is that not dangerous though?
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. It would be ideal to then talk about it during that instance, because I mean, you might find someone that has gone through the very same situation that you are going through right now, and you might get some sort of help. I mean, this is why I'm a suicide. This is why niggas get into situations where they, where they get messed up,
Exactly.
because we are so used to taking on problems on our own and not share, not talk about it, and just figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
And the only time it's comfortable to talk about it is
when
after
it's done.
When it's done.
And you
You're
might,
like,
you might not survive.
you might not survive.
get
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah,
right? Because
yeah, you might not,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
so many guys don't survive. We've seen it in countless times on the news, social media, and that. It's most guys don't survive that, and the few that do are actually okay talking about it after the math. I'm one of them. I'll talk about it after, like, yo, I almost lost everything, But I'm saying that I almost lost everything because I've already found a solution. I'm already,
You know why also, ne? When you start to realize that you are your own support structure. I mean, who do you talk to when you're weak? That's why it's easier to talk to it when you're strong after the build-up and the turmoil and the challenges. Once the dust has settled, now you are comfortable to talk about it.
converse.
But within the turmoil,
What do you think? Why is your perspective that you are your own support structure? Why is there general understanding amongst men that you are your own support structure?
I think we are geared in that way naturally, number one. Number two, it's not that men just go out and want to be their own support structure. Men try, in their early days, they try and they ask for help and they just don't get it. But now,
Ask once.
when you're in a position where you don't have the luxury of time to ask other men for help, the ones that you've helped, there's a reason why you asked them first. Those are the ones that you trusted. Those are the ones that you anticipated support.
They've come to the
When
party.
those ones don't support you, you feel like the rest won't. So your perspective shifts from I need support to what can I do myself? And then you do it. And that's it. And that's the male DNA. And highly likely you turn out well at the end of the day. You know why? It just works out.
This comes together.
I mean, life and manhood is about different perspectives, right?
Yeah.
Because that approach could work for you,
Yes.
and that could be the right approach for you.
Yes.
I think what we need to appreciate also as men in general is that there's different ways to skin a cat.
Yes.
It might just be that you being stoic and being hard about it
Yes.
until the very end, not
True.
talking, not whatever, works for you. That
Yes.
also could be right. It might not work for somebody else, but we need to open up the options that are available and equip
What else?
other people or young people or whoever else is facing a situation that, okay, fine, if you can't thug it the whole way, you have this alternative.
Yeah.
If you can't do this alternative, you have that alternative or the various other options. The limitation is that we default to that, and that is most of the time what we use, and people don't survive that.
Yeah, but that's
The
because
toolbox, the toolbox.
But that's all we know. It's all about what you're exposed to. You see, like therapy is taboo to the age group of 25 to 35 black men. It's not a common thing.
yeah, they messed up.
Oh,
Different guys.
okay.
Wait.
They different.
I see 35 to 40.
35 up.
I see 80s kids
80s
with
and
80s,
below.
80s and below.
Early 90s,
Nah.
yeah.
They're not familiar with therapy. We don't naturally think, "Guti, there's someone I can talk to
If
that
I
can
talk, it will
advise me
fix it."
on how I can unfold certain issues
Yeah.
and then compartmentalize them in a way that could work best to my situation in solving them." We don't rationalize that. Tina, we think, "Guti, yazi umalume wami lo mangangisiza or ubhuti wami umanu mangangisiza, hayi sekuphelile yi-support structure yami le, sekusele mina.
These are my tools.
You know,
Yeah.
I understand when you say that there's other ways of dealing with things, but then if you don't know them, no one can blame you for the path that you choose of going at it alone and thugging it out.
You don't know
And to
what
be
you don't
honest,
know.
I think I'd
Yes.
still raise my son with the very same mentality because I have seen the advantages of having that strength, because I call it strength. Because like to his point again, I'm at 2000 like yeah, differently. You know, those boys are I don't want to say it, but they quite lacking,
Yeah.
you know, in what we have, which is why we don't fall apart or fold easily
Yeah.
because
Perfect.
we were raised in harsh conditions. So much if you haven't gone through that upbringing
Yeah.
and when you've lived a soft life all your life, the moment you experience something hard, it becomes so overwhelming to a point where you're like, I don't know, I'm gonna get out of this. Oh, my girlfriend broke up with me, let me kill myself. You know?
Yeah.
And that is the problem. So we can stomach a lot because of how we were raised.
Is it fair to say the only reason why we are still condoning this way of being men is because it's worked for us?
I'd say so.
So there's some it hasn't worked for.
The world is not kind to men.
I also
Well,
think
it's
not a lie.
you know what,
It's not a
to
lie.
add on to what he's saying, the reason why we do that with men, we don't naturally think that
Someone
things
will come
change in the future and things evolve. We know what works and what doesn't. And we like to stick to what works
in. Fair.
in the way that it works because we've got history of how it has worked. So it's hard for us to now,
That's right.
you know, dilute the solution when you're like, but this is how it works.
Yeah.
Working solution.
For those that it has worked for.
For those that it has worked for,
Yeah.
you know, okay, if it hasn't worked for like you wanna so me, you know.
Wait.
Okay, for those it hasn't worked for,
Yeah.
like different people in different circumstances, we would have to be exposed to those environments and those circumstances.
Yeah.
But now, if you are surrounded by men who have only gone through similar challenges,
Yeah.
and then we have similar solutions, and that solution is this one. Then, like, dude, you'd be going astray if you're gonna come with a foreign concept and saying, I think this is how we solve this solution. When we know, no, dude, we've been solving this solution for decades.
Dude, I always argue the point here, you know, when women say, you know, we need to let boys be emotional and cry.
Aye.
I always argue that point because I see no good thing that could come from that. From
Yeah.
letting them cry and all of that. Because I feel like what you are doing is weakening them, is not really preparing them for the reality of how things work when it comes to men. That
I
is.
feel like you also have a
Yeah.
No, bring it
I've
on.
got a point of disagreement. You know?
Andrew first.
So your exact statement that women say we want our male children to cry.
Yeah.
I do disagree with that. Because crying is not a solution that works for men, it might work for women. What you could say is, I want them to understand their emotions. Don't cry. Crying is not beneficial for us. I've cried before. You know how they say go outside and scream? It hasn't worked for me. Like, okay, I tried, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So crying might not be it, but to teach young men to acknowledge their emotions is one thing. Not act on it now. The thing you were speaking of earlier on, that whining is what happens when you acknowledge your emotions and then you dwell in them. When you dwell in them, you cry.
Yeah.
So we should teach them to, if you feel bad, it happens. Sit down. Kabang. Don't cry. That's not a solution for us. That I can say with confidence. I've tried it. I'm like, they lied to me. This thing is not functional. You know. So it's not for us. So when it's the mothers telling them to do this, they've never been men. They don't know that this doesn't work. But it's worked for them, so they will share again their experience.
Yes.
Crying worked for me,
Yes.
try it. But it doesn't work for both.
Yeah. it doesn't
And that's, I mean, that's exactly what I wanted to add to, right? Is we need to teach our kids and maybe younger people that are going through certain challenges that there are a few or more than a few responses to something.
Oh, yes.
You need to be able to. So it's like saying, I'm going into a fight, right? Let's say you want to man it. I'm thugging it. I'm going into a fight, but you're fighting an MMA person who has a gun and a knife, and you only have one fist. Nesandle siwa. You know, it doesn't help you, right? Because you think you're just going to punch this person with one hand and they've got many other tools at their arsenal to whip your backside. That's the world and that's the stresses that will come against you if you only have one weapon.
Yes.
If you've got multiple weapons or multiple arsenals, multiple solutions, and you are exposed to them, you are able to say, okay, that situation, crying is okay. That situation, I ain't gonna cry. I can't cry because
It will
shit
do
is gonna
nothing.
fall apart. It's
Yeah.
gonna do nothing for me. That one, I must actually go seek some help because it's a deep-seated emotion or something. That one, you know, the toolbox that enables you to identify your emotions. And I'm not saying cry at every turn, but know what emotion is suitable for whatever you need to deal with, so that you have the right tool for the solution. That way, you are able to survive the situation versus it conquering you.
I agree with you, except for the crying part, because
So men must never cry.
no,
I'm not saying that you must cry excessively.
Don't
what I'm
cry
saying-
as solving a problem
Yeah,
or
what I'm
feel
saying is
emotion. No.
almost each and every of our problems is a building burning, basically. So you could choose to get up into a ball while the building burns, and you are the only fireman there. Your woman is not the fireman. When she cries, you are the fireman still.
No.
So
I think that's
when now you crying, getting up into a ball and crying while the building is burning is doing more damage to the
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Identifying the emotion and seeing if it has a purpose for the situation. If a building is burning, you crying is not going to.
solution the problem.
Unless you are crying
You need to
liters and
fix it,
liters
right?
of water.
You need to find what's in my toolbox that is required for me to effectively solve that particular solution.
But
If
what
there's an
would you say
instance-
is the problem that would require you to cry?
As an example, I mean,
Stabbing your toe.
God forbid, you know, that one of our elders passes away, our parent, whatever the case might be. But in the instance of somebody you care and love passing away, is it okay to cry?
I will speak on my
And that is to cry.
Yes.
I'm not saying crying incessantly, where you're crying from beginning to end. You just curled up in a ball in your room. But this and you're not effective. You're just crying. I'm talking about expressing your emotion.
I like that.
Can I bring it to my experience? I don't
I
know.
was going to do that exactly.
Can I add?
I'm going to bring it into mine.
Bring,
Yeah.
bring it to your experience as well.
Let me just. I think what happens is this is the difference between men and women. Women can allocate a time to cry. Men can't. As men, you react. You don't know whether you will cry or not if your loved elder passes away, God forbid. But if your friend cries and not the elder, but you feel compelled to cry, you don't question it as a man. You say, damn, there's something I need to liberate myself of. And because you're not familiar with this, it may not even be deemed as crying. A person looking at you from outside can say, man, this man is screaming. You know, when my dad passed away, I was cognizant of the fact that I do not have time to cry right now. I need to plan. I need to know where he'll be buried. I need to take care of certain things. Once it got to the point where we've got time of like limber time, where we can just do what we want to do,
Aksana span.
that is when I went somewhere and I allowed myself to feel the emotions and express whatever my body felt compelled to take whatever was inside of me out.
At that
and
point
for
in
me,
time.
I cannot say it was crying. I can say tears came down, but I can't say it was crying. I can say it was shouting and screaming.
There was water in my eye.
Yeah. And I cannot say it was crying. You know, the fact that I cannot say, Guti, I was crying when my dad died. I was not crying, but whatever emotion, it could not be described. Maybe there's no term for what I was going through, but I went through what I needed to
You
go through
embrace the emotion.
that specific time. I did not want to wait for my mother's permission to tell me, my son, you should cry now. No, but that's what makes you a man.
The thing is, I was about to bring it to that point.
So I won't even bring mine up. It's very simple.
The very same point, Guti. Even in that instance, we don't have the time to cry immediately. Because now you're like, shit. Okay, my mother has passed on.
Yes.
What do I do? I need to organize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
That's exactly what I did as well. You know, I had things to do and I needed to do them before I can consider wallowing in my own emotions, you know. And that only happened once everything was done.
Yes.
That's when you sit down and you take everything and you're like,
Yeah.
it is a stressful
Nice.
situation.
100%.
But not at that moment. At that moment, you are solutioning.
No, look, it has to be the right tool for the right time.
Yeah.
So if you need to be action oriented because somebody has passed, then you need to be action. There's no time to cry. Because once you start crying, you're going to be crying for a long time.
Yeah.
Compartmentalize, and I think that's the advice also. Compartmentalize. You do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
There will come a time where you need to let your
Yeah,
emotions
that's
out.
fine.
And then you let it out because it is healthy to do that. Right?
Yes.
Because otherwise, we're perpetuating, or let me rather say, we're not learning anything new to be able to fight the fights that await us. And the fights that we're fighting now are different fights that our fathers had, different from the fights that our fathers
Yeah.
They didn't have Instagram.
They didn't have,
they didn't have Instagram.
and they could go buy milk and never come back.
Now
We don't have it.
you will follow you find your digital footprint. and we'll
Exactly.
find
Now you are found everywhere.
So yeah, I think equipping ourselves with the right tools to
Yeah.
fight the fight when it needs to happen.
So women shouldn't say that because you're not emotional at a specific time, that you're not an emotional person.
Yes.
And they should not perpetuate this thing that, no, you need to cry, as if you can just snap your fingers and then your emotions just roll. They need to understand that men just operate differently and it's to their benefit.
Our time, our crying is scheduled.
Yeah, our crying is at a certain time, which is best suited. And if you say that you cried when your mom passed away, you need to understand that the time that you cried, nobody was negatively impacted. If you think about it, and then nothing slowed down, and everything happened and unfolded the way it was supposed to. So it was strategic because of who you are and how you are made up. Yes, your nature. Not Guti. I mean, when my dad passed away, I literally said, "Beganu mamam lapaya akale." I said that because khala mama, nami ngikhalele, nami ngikhalele, nalabo bafuna ukukhala,
Kalan.
khalani laphaya.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah. Laba bangakhali ngicela ningisizeni ke ngoba khona izinto ekumele sizenze ngalesikhathi lesi. And then for the week unomsebenzi wale viki leli ekumele sikwenze. Laba bangakhali ngicela ningisizeni. That's all it is. Now, because now there's predominant households that are women led, women want to raise male children the way they are, and that's flawed.
Yeah.
That is completely flawed. Thumela lo mntana loyo kuba bakhe mangabe umntana womfana. Ngoba manje awungeke umkhulise umntana womfana. Angeke ukhona ukukhulisa umntana womfana. Because umntana womfana, there's just certain things that we go through. There's just certain learnings that fathers are willing to let their sons learn while they are supervising. Although it may seem like they are laid back and not watching, but we're very calculated.
Look, I have to say on the mothers raising sons on their own, some of them can raise very good men.
False.
No, let me finish.
No, it's impossible.
Let me finish.
No, you can't say false like that.
False. I'll say
No,
false.
no, in perspective.
It's in your perspective.
I'm a
In your perspective.
In my perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Your perspective, right? But I
You can't say that.
I can say that, and they'll say that. That's the reason why I choose.
Yeah, boy, I love this
I
one.
do. No, and look, I do believe that women can raise good men, right?
But there's caveats.
That's the first component.
Yeah.
And there's caveats in that, right?
Mm.
Is she going to be challenged? Yes, because a man takes good leadership and good understanding from other men because they speak a similar language to the one that he understands. Right? A feminine voice versus a masculine voice, there's a component of understanding that could go awry. So those ladies, some of the time, face challenges in raising teenagers when they get to the teenage stage, they get to the lion stage, laba boys la corner, and all of a sudden ladies can't understand why this boy is barking at me. Njengendoda. Takes another man who can bark.
Just to say, yeah,
To say,
fixed.
because it's the same voice, right?
100.
But it does go without saying that some women and women can and have the capability to raise men that are good. Are they the optimal men that they can be?
No.
No. Right? And I stand by that. To say that in a healthy environment where there is a present mother and a present father, the chances of that child being a more robust individual
Increases.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm saying, Uti, I think it's unfair to say that ladies can't raise good people or women can't raise good men.
I'd say any single woman, any single parent that's raising a son right now should try and get a stepfather.
I'm a stepfather.
At least,
Are you
I'm a stepfather.
have a dedicated
Or a male
uncle.
male figure.
Yeah,
Male-
male
I-
figure.
I-
a
I-
dedicated
I like male figure.
uncle right there that's gonna help you out. Because trust me, from my own personal experience, I was raised by a mother. But I feel like she didn't understand how to raise boys.
And rightfully
She took it.
so.
Yeah, it's rightfully so.
Yeah.
She's a woman, you know.
Yeah.
She didn't understand it. She thought she was doing the right thing, but it did more damage than it did good.
You know what? The reason why I could tell that you were raised by a woman is because you think there's a gray area with male and masculinity. And there isn't, dude. Yeah, when I like
It's
you
black
can
and
say Guti was it his optimal stage of manhood. We don't have that luxury.
Of
Mowing
a
daughter.
optimal stage.
No, yes, as a man. No. That's why whenever there's an adjective put in front of male or man, it's something weaker. You don't have to put an adjective in front of man to make it more superlative or make it more dominant. No, man in itself is the most dominant stage that you can ever be. But if you're going to say feminine man or proverbial man or LGBT man, then you're just diluting
Take it away.
man. But man in itself is the highest point.
So are you saying, not that you are you saying, but in the case of an unhealthy man,
Mm.
is that something to aspire to, an unhealthy man? Because you're saying anything before a man is you're a man, right?
Mm.
But if you are raising a boy child,
Yeah.
is an unhealthy man somebody to aspire to?
Let me.
Because I spoke about a good balance of a woman
Mm.
and a male coming
Yes.
in a healthy way to raise a well-rounded man.
100%.
Because
Yeah.
both genders have a role to play.
Yeah.
But if you're saying that regardless of the state of the man, that is something to aspire to, I disagree with that. Because
Back to respect.
aspiring to something that is healthy is not an ideal a man should pursue.
I feel like that's a different.
No. You asked me a question. Can I respond to that? And I will reiterate what I said. Whenever you add an adjective to man, it is not a man. So you said, would it be good to aspire to an unhealthy man? You already added an adjective to man. That is not man. Whenever you add, so if you're gonna say, Guti, is it okay to aspire to a drunkard man? No, then that is not a man. There is a man. There's a man that women respect and say, "Ayindoda leya." There is a man that umama athi ayindoda leya.
Mm.
There is a community that said, we raised a man.
So it has to be a healthy man.
It has to be.
Okay. Yeah, which is what it should be, right? It should be a healthy man.
100%.
And
There's
then
no
also-
choice about this. That's why I say there's no gray area when it comes to men. If it's either you're a man or you're a boy. Finish and class.
Mm.
There's no 2 minutes to men or 5 to men. No. You're a boy. Usafunda. And be willing to learn and acknowledge that you're still a kid. But once you become a man, you're a man, and consistently so.
That's a tall order.
It is.
It is a
It's not for everybody.
It's a tall, and the reason I say it's a tall order is, I mean, look at the men that we have today, or let me say the boys that we have today. There's a multitude of boys,
100%.
multitude of boys that are out there, and boys are mimicking boys,
Mm.
right? Boys are mimicking boys.
Mm.
Boys are becoming older. They're becoming gray, becoming 50, they're becoming 60, they're becoming 70. And
That's
that's
still
still boys.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So maybe the question is, what is being a
Yeah.
man? And I mean, we
Yeah.
can take that,
Yeah.
and it's a question. It's not. We
Yes.
need to find a solve for it, right?
Yeah.
But what is the right, true measure for being a man?
Mm.
And if the line is here, and none of us are hitting it here,
Mm.
then
You're not man.
we're not men.
Yeah. And when we say man, it's easy for us to say man, but we're supposed to say what that man's culture represents. So we're supposed to say,
Okay.
no, for that.
Besides culture and everything else, I think
Yeah.
the initial question, what is a man?
It's hard to define what a man is
Yes.
because you know why?
I want
The fact that there's two of us sitting here, the definition of what a man is, there should be a difference.
To your understanding, what is a real man?
A real man is a man who adheres to his culture. 100% not compromising. A real man is a man who leads his household. Whether divorced or not divorced, he leads his household. A real man is the one who leads the family, the kids, especially the male son, to follow his lead. That is the real man. And then a real man is a man who takes care of responsibilities of the household, of the culture, of the entire family. He puts the entire family on his shoulders, proudly so, because it is not your inability to fulfill the nation's requirements. You are given the strength. It's your lack of acknowledgement that makes you weak. That's it.
So Becha Labocher is not.
Uyislim madoda manje ngenzeni mina ukhulela la eGoli manje mina ngithi yesa mawungabuyela kini uyothatha unkosikazi mangabe kini bakuvumela ukuthi ube nabakosikazi abayithu ngoba uyindoda yabona indoda can never be fulfilled ngonkosikazi oyi-one. That's number one. Never.
No, wait.
Never. Never.
Yabona usandile ngaqala ukuvala amehlo.
Yeah, never.
Then you know it's a mess.
No, imagine it's different cultures. And imagine, you can never be more of a man in another man's culture. You can't. Although we do try, we do strive, because that's a male trait.
Yeah.
Men have a natural uncommunicated way of dominating the area or whatever the premise or whatever or the subject matter. Natural. Ayukuthi uzenza ukuthi ube stubborn. No, ninjalo. He has to face another man. And then when he faces another man, he needs to pause and think, is this a challenge? Or do I give this man respect so that I acknowledge him being a man in his own culture? I only have frame of reference of my culture, but if you say that you're a man in your culture, I then sharp.
Yeah.
Maramanje sesima as amadoda. That's literally it. That's why we can engage in this conversation, because we all have different frames of reference.
Wow.
All of us have different frames of reference, but I can allow you to speak.
Yabona, when you started closing your eyes and you did this,
We're like,
clearly there's a lot to be discussed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly there's a lot to be discussed.
Yeah.
And the topic is said.
Yeah.
I think we need to revisit this one. This is a hot one that needs to be revisited.
Yeah.
And I think it would be nice to have a perspective
Please.
of somebody who's what we define as a man,
Please.
so that we can unpack what that is, right? True to one of the segments that we isn't on top. Once again, we have somebody who's hit us up anonymously. What are my issues that they want to rely on the much that our wife for these four men that sitting here.
C3, no, they like to be Pogama specs.
So it goes like this, Jess. It goes, my husband, who I've been married to for 12 years, has been acting strangely. It seems like he's going through a midlife crisis. He even bought us a motorbike. As Sina 40, Bazalwan. Sizan. Okay, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it, my next. Go for it.
I won't delve into. I'll look at how it was written. This woman never separated herself from the man. She spoke of us instead of yena or uban or ubaba. She made them. She saw how they are as one. There's a significance to that. There's a significance even in your response. You have to take that into consideration. Uguti, you're not talking to the man. You're talking to the unit of marriage.
the collective.
So please, man zophendula, because I wouldn't know.
All right, Drew, go for it. I'll put you on the spot for this one.
The idea of midlife crisis is a fallacy. No, I'm kidding. So she's saying that but I can't say they're acting funny because she's saying she's acknowledging what they have done as a collective, but she's also telling us what he has done.
Midlife crisis.
So what he has done is impacting them, but ideally he's the one who's acting strange and buying a motorcycle.
Point
It's
of
impacting
correction.
them. Hit me.
She said,
We
he has bought us a motorbike.
100%.
Therefore, you have to respond as a unit.
But she first started by saying he's acting strange.
There's a slight mistake. We can make it. They are not perfect.
No, we can't. We can't assume that.
Okay, separate.
So
Yeah.
he's acting strange. Due to his acting strange, he bought us a motorcycle. Fair, I can take that. But midlife crisis, Jay, is an idea. You know, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Also, midlife assumes half. Yeah, it is 80. Well, what is the life expectancy now? Is it 80, 70? Yeah, he's past.
Or a life crisis. Let's call it this.
Okay, sure.
Many midlife
So-
crisis.
The thing that I find interesting about this is the fact that obviously his age had to come into play. He is now at a point in his life where he has resources. He can now do things now that he could not do then. So we might call it a midlife crisis, but it's just a state of opportunist. He can now do things he could not do. People will see it as a midlife crisis, but he might have wanted one all of his life but couldn't afford one, and now he can. So that's what we'll view as a midlife crisis. So maybe this man who's acting strange is just getting into a point where he's got the resources that meet his character, you know, and then we're like, but it could just be that. You know?
yeah.
He's now at a point where he can do those things. If he would have had those resources and opportunities earlier on, he would have bought the motorcycle at 28. You know, but he's doing it now because he can.
I like that point you raised, that he's just basically money has come to meet him at the point
Where he
he's
can
at,
do
where
things.
he's always been.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a valid point. Any advice that you'd like to give the lady when Mr. Matas?
I don't know what midlife crisis is. I haven't reached that level. So, but to his
What
point,
advice?
I think I would agree with this because for men, the inner child never dies out. You know, so we constantly want to fulfill the dreams that we had as teenagers and as young kids, basically. Yeah, I watch anime. You know, I would buy
Very
PS5 right now because now I can. You know,
Yeah.
in fact, what I want right now is I'm a Quest Meta Quest 3. That's what I want. So if I was married, maybe a woman might view that as
He's doing childish things late in life.
crisis. But it's because I truly can afford it now. I couldn't afford it then. It wasn't around then. But even if it was, I wouldn't be able to afford it because it's expensive. But I would agree with this. It's we literally buy the toys that we couldn't buy back then, and we want to play with them now.
Mr. Masego, any advice for our lovely anonymous lady? Advice for her?
The advice I would have for her was her to stomach all the changes because you've been with him till this point where he feels he wants to expose himself to you. It's not for you, it's a midlife crisis because you think you see a change in the consistency of the rhythm and you think, oh, something is happening now. But to him, it's not a midlife crisis. This is something that has been pending for 2 decades. And now he's at a point where he can execute without affecting any other thing. So I would say, I love the way you phrased your questions when you mentioned the we and the us. Maintain that. Don't reach out for advice from other men. Your man, you yourself
To the gender.
are okay. The fact that you identify as a unit, you've done very well for solidifying the foundation of your relationship. Now, in how to control it or in how to manage it in its development, be supportive to your man. If he buys a motorcycle, wear the gear, buy him the helmet, buy some stickers, be with him, be his man. If he's brought you along on the journey, be a part of it because it is easy for him to portray the continual, no, we're just driving a family station wagon. Kanti, he's got a bike with the 2K.
inside.
Yeah. But now he has exposed his joy to you, which I feel like, man, that's a perfect relationship. So accompany it because honestly, men don't have things that we start and then we want to continue for the next 20 years. That would be like a nice shiny object. If he buys a bike, he buys it and then that's it. It's gonna get back to normal, get back to the routine. Just stick by him. Yeah, finish and clash.
Yeah, no, I think that's some good advice. I think, like David said, the child doesn't die. The resources meet the dreams at a
Yes.
particular point. Like Spokes mentioned, Mr. Masego mentioned right here, stick along with him on the journey. I think a combination of those, I think plus a very good increase in life insurance for him. So that should he
Protect the household.
with the motorbike, the family financially is strong. And that's the honest of the change, right? When Amjita goes on the motorbike, go get an increase in your life insurance. So that when you hit a truck, your family that's being a man. You must make sure in your absence that the family is taken care of. But that's a nice one. Guys, it's been one of those episodes. We're very passionate. Please just make sure that you hit like, subscribe, follow us. There's a lot of stuff that we talk about. Obviously, our opinions are our opinions, allegedly. That's the disclaimer, but yeah, we are all on a journey. If we've offended anybody, we apologize. But there's some really, really good lessons that can come out from this, including lessons for ourselves. So hit us up on the socials. Let's all learn. Let's all teach each other. We all teach. See you on the next episode of what's it called again? Shit.
Let them society doesn't want to say shit.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, but
No. When sharp.
Dark days can't hold me in.